In recent years, I've noticed Agatha Christie's Hercule Poirot character making a big screen comeback, with Murder on the Orient Express in 2017, to be followed by another of his adventures, Death on the Nile. This latter film should have been long released by now, but has been held up by COVID and also sex abuse allegations relating to one of the film's ensemble cast, Armie Hammer. Death on the Nile is finally coming out, however, in about a month's time from this video dropping, touch wood, so I thought it might be fun to look back at the 1978 version of the story, which I actually have some background with. And no, I've never taken a trip on the Nile, let alone been to Egypt, let alone murdered somebody. I'm not a monster. Death on the Nile is actually a film I have childhood memories of thanks to a family holiday. I was very young, but vividly remember looking at the lobby cards with my mother, more so than watching the film itself. The year was likely 1979, as the US and UK releases of the film were in late 1978, and in those days it wasn't uncommon for films to take quite some time to be released in Australia, so I'm guessing somewhere in 1979. Ironically, this is a mystery about a mystery, and one I'm never going to solve. Back to the film. The plot is quite simple. Our Belgian super sleuth, Hercule Poirot, is on a river steamer on the Nile in Egypt when a passenger is murdered. Being such a small area with a limited number of people, the murderer is obviously on board. So, who is it? Over the years, I've thought about Death on the Nile and had some sense of it featuring a proverbial star-studded cast, but looking at the DVD case, I was still stunned at this film's roster. Peter Ustinov, Bette Davis, Angela Lansbury, Mia Farrow, David Niven, Maggie Smith, Simon MacCorkindale, Jane Birkin, Olivia Hussey, Lois Chiles, and more. It's an extraordinary cast to assemble, from genuine old-school Hollywood like Davis through to, at the time, newcomer like MacCorkindale, and perhaps the inspiration for the modern Poirot films to have similar ensemble casts drawn from generations of actors who wouldn't often feature together, but in movies like this feel so right. Of course, the firepower of the cast has to be balanced against what seems to have been a very modest budget, not to mention a film shot using 1978 filmmaking techniques. You see, while some shots are shot on location in Egypt, a lot of the film is shot on interior sets, and a super quirky contemporary to 1978 making of film, which is an extra on the DVD, shows that even some scenes featuring the film's central location, a paddle steamer on the Nile, were actually shot on a one-to-one replica on a soundstage in the UK, literally filled with water to simulate the Nile. It's quite an extraordinary achievement when you look at it like that, but Death on the Nile really does feel like an older film when you watch it today. Indeed, at times, it doesn't even feel like something shot for cinema release. Strip away a few of the impressive Egypt shots, and the film feels more like, a telemovie perhaps made in the mid-1980s. Don't let that observation put you off trying the film, however, as there's plenty in here to enjoy. From Bette Davis being fantastically horrible to her maid, who's played by Maggie Smith, to Angela Lansbury portraying a crazy novelist who seems drunk the whole time, to Peter Ustinov having a lot of fun with his Poirot accent. David Niven, meanwhile, just seems bemused but jolly happy to be involved. And look, the film just zings along despite being almost 2.5 hours long, hitting all the right beats and ending in the time-honoured tradition of Poirot assembling what remains of the cast to announce whodunit. It's formulaic, sure, but still quite fun. Naturally, I've avoided anything spoilerific here. These are really the kind of film or book, if you're doing it old school style, that you don't want to know much about before you go in. Having said that, I pretty much sussed out the murderer right away. I wasn't so much sure how they did it, and that was quite ingenious when it was explained, but I'd certainly figured out who well before it was revealed by Poirot. And as the credits rolled, I was quite happy I spent $6 on this DVD to have finally seen, with an adult's eyes, a film that's basically as old as any I can remember seeing in my lifetime. I'm sure the big budget release next month will blow this one out of the water on many levels, no pun intended, especially in the visuals department, but there is a genuine charm to this 1978 film which can never be replaced. I highly recommend it to any murder mystery, Poirot or Agatha Christie fan out there if you haven't already seen it.